Today's Adventures with Tar Heel takes us to Colorado for the Sundance Trail Guest Ranch. We've been lucky enough to visit there 3 times. As a jumping off point, we have flown into Denver. We've stayed at 2 different places. One time we stayed at the Estes Park, Colorado, Stanley Hotel, and took the opportunity to do a few things in town, get some cowboy hats, but also visit the Rocky Mountain National Park, which has an entrance right there in Estes Park. It's the beautiful scenery. There's actually a loop you can drive if you don't have a ton of time. And our kids actually got Junior Ranger badges while we were there and enjoyed looking for the bighorn sheep, which I think we saw one or two, but didn't catch a picture of. The other place we've kicked off our journeys from the other 2 years that we've gone is Fort Collins, Colorado. This is a little closer. So Estes Park is about an hour and a half from Denver. Fort Collins is about an hour and 15 minutes. We stayed 1 year at the historic Stanley Hotel and another year at a Hilton with lots of great places to eat and a really fun small town atmosphere with lots of things to do in town. So I would recommend either one of these as a good jumping off point. Both of them are about an hour to an hour and a half away from Sundance Trail. Sundance Trail is a guest ranch, not a dude ranch like you'd see in City Slickers where the people came and drove cattle, that kind of thing. This is a place where you can stay, and there are a variety of activities in the mountains that you can do, campfires, hiking. There's some days where they go rock climbing and also whitewater rafting. What we really love about Sundance Trail is a couple of things. One is you have the same horse all week generally. So you get assigned a horse, and the wranglers actually spend some time with everyone to get a feel for their personalities and match personalities to horses. And it's really evident that they do that because people that are maybe more adventurous and more daring end up with horses that are kind of fit that mold a little bit more, and people who are maybe a little more timid or brand new to horses tend to get more calm horses that are used to having new people on them. And especially like the kids, they do a dinner one night where it's just parents and the kids go off and have a cookout down by the campfire and go hunting for jackalopes and things like that. The other thing we really love about Sundance Trail is porch time. Just we hang out on the porch in between different activities, and it gives you a nice chance to chat and talk with people, to get to know other people that are there with you and that kind of thing. All 3 times we've gone with my parents, my sister's family, and my aunt and her kids. So about half the people there were people with our family, but it's really easy to get to know the other people. And if people want to stay more to themselves, sometimes they do. There are a lot of opportunities for riding horses, obviously. And if you only want to go on some rides, there are other things you can do. You do meet up at the main house for all the meals, the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's all been good every time we've gone. There are a couple of times when we actually cook on the trail, so they'll bring out things and grill on the trail. So you might take an all-day ride, but everybody stops at one location, and we have a lunch out in the national forest that's next to the property. There's axe throwing. There is horseshoes. There's just hanging out. There's a hot tub. There's a barn that has a pool table. There are tons of boulders nearby. Our kids generally would run off and play on the boulders nearby, and we barely see them in between meals when things weren't happening. And our kids generally went with a kids wrangler, and the kids wrangler makes sure the kids are able to sit a horse and comfortable on the horse before they take them out. But they will do kid rides to different places that are sometimes a little closer, but just sometimes just places kids find more interesting, frankly. They went to a place called Kid Cave, which I still don't know where that is, but investigated that. They do have some great entertainment at the campfires. They have people that come in and sing folk songs and things with lots of audience participation to whatever degree you're comfortable. We chose to do the Whitewater River trip one day. You can actually, if you aren't into that kind of thing, go into town at Fort Collins and hang out. But we loved the whitewater rafting. It was a lot of fun. I believe the minimum age is 7. It's just a heads up in case you're going with younger kids. But we really enjoyed. I enjoyed the half day rides, the whole day rides. I even enjoyed just sitting there and watching when they would turn the horses loose at night and they would wander all over the property, just having their evening snacks and hanging out. It's just such a beautiful sight. It's situated on a really nice piece of property adjacent to the National Forest. And there's a lot just on the property to do, as well as just some beautiful scenery when you go on the hikes that you can see. Um, Both my kids got pretty good at axe throwing. Um, there was one year that everyone in the family was kind of obsessed with axe throwing. As you can see, my son also got a run in on property. There's a kind of a loop you can take. There are there are bears in the area. We have never seen one. We did see a moose a couple different times. We came up on them on riding, which you do have to be careful about. Riding through the aspens is gorgeous, and I can just not recommend the staff that works there highly enough. All very fun. The wranglers are very knowledgeable and very helpful. The riding is not, although you can see in the picture, sometimes we are nose to tail. It's not set up so that you have to be nose to tail. You ride, and through some paths you can kind of be side by side and things like that. So if you're thinking about going there, I would say the pace is nice and slow, and it's whatever you make it. If you want it to be exciting and be doing lots of activities all the time, you absolutely can. If you want to sit on the porch in the morning and drink coffee and hang out and read a book till noon, you absolutely can. Um, you will, it's really fun to get to know the different horses and their personalities. And the kids just really had a lot of fun wrapping up the week with rodeo games, and also the horses can go swimming usually at one point in the week. It just, I think there's some weeks that they can't do it because of people's flights, but most of the time they can get that in. And really, we have always been able to have people help us out and tell us what's going on. They tell you the activities each night before you go to bed so that you know what's coming up for the next day. And you just, if there's things to pick from, you have things to pick from. You can just say, I am riding, I'm not riding. If unless you tell them you're not riding, they'll saddle up the horses and get everybody ready. I do really love that with the Wranglers. As our kids went the first year, they were brand new and they were learning about everything. And so they did a couple of rides in the ring and nearby. And then as they got older and more experienced, they were able to go on longer rides. And we offered the last year because they were actually old enough to come with us on one of the adult rides. And they were like, no, we'll just stay and hang out together. Since their cousins were there with them, they're all really similar ages. They're all within like 4 years of each other. So, I mean, individually. So they wanted to hang out together and have that time together. That was nice. There are always a bunch of dogs hanging around, some of the Wranglers' dogs and some of the ranch dogs. And for us, we love dogs. So that was really fun just to be able to see dogs since we were all missing our dogs. So, in short, highly, highly recommend Sundance Trail. Um, Even if you've never been on a horseback ride, they can teach you the things you need to know. Just kind of go in with an open mind and be ready to see some absolutely gorgeous scenery. We had fun there even when we maybe had a day that was really rainy. There's a living room where we like played cards, or we would hang out and do things in like some of the common areas. And frankly, we never had a day where it rained all day long. But I don't think we would have minded anyway, because it's just such a nice, relaxing break from everything. There isn't Wi-Fi. There's no cellular. I think they have a tiny bit of Wi-Fi if someone needs to do something for work, but I would really just encourage you, if you go, unplug and enjoy Sundance Trail for what it is. Just gorgeous, gorgeous scenery and nature the way it should be. So, hope you found this interesting. Let me know in the comments if you have any specific questions. I'm happy to let you know. As I said, we've been there 3 different times and loved each and every trip along the way. One last tip, you'll notice if you go in the dining room and in the main rooms, everyone who's visited has a little carving in the wood. If you see this carving, that is our group and the years that we were there.